Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking for Easy Trader. Welcome to a review of the current markets and what we may have ahead of us for the morning. Okay, so looking at the euro dollar first. Euro dollar's back down to 12-year lows where we're sitting at the moment. We could be pushing down further. It's broken all the key near-term support, obviously. We've got to really look back to the monthlies to see anything to give us any further guidance from here, and we're really looking back. Really, there's little in the way of support back in 2003 because it started rallying up there, and there's very few support lines. I mean, the next support line is less than the parity. So, really, at the moment, I guess we would be looking at parity for support at this juncture. So if it went down to 1-to-1 with the US dollar, that would be it then, wouldn't it? May give us some support. I mean, obviously there's some whole numbers on the way down there, which we're not far off, but we're only 104 pips above parity at this juncture. So there is an easy chance that it could run down towards those levels as it's been sold off. However, short term, we do have an upside target, although that said, it's over 60 pips away, so it may not be hit in full, but we may see some sort of retrace coming from this extreme oversell. But of course, it's extreme oversold a couple of times before. It's done it again. There's a chance that even any sort of rally could still see us coming back and testing that again, so just bear that in mind. So there's a possibility for sure. So at the moment, it's looking like it could get a reasonable bounce. A break of this trend line may make me interested in looking for some long setups. So that would be, as I say, that would be my long side, hoping to get towards that target, but of the daily pivot at 111.09. But if it doesn't, well, I can understand when it's so far away. That said, the range, obviously daily range 110 pips, it is certainly possible for it to get there. Okay, let's have a look at the pound dollar and look at the higher time frames first. And we've sold off pretty strongly on Wednesday, Tuesday even. Wednesday, Thursday, we're following through here, and we're now sort of I'm looking for the support areas, which really are those prior highs across from January time. So that's the potential support. There's not a lot else sitting there in this short term for support. We've broken through all the key moving averages, exception being the 500, which is somewhere way down. But we've lost all support effectively. But again, just as the euro, we've got this potential upside target of 52.96. We've got a trend line here. Oops, badly drawn. There is a trend line that runs across the tops here. If it break that, well, perhaps we can be looking bullish-ish towards that pivot. But again, with these oversold areas, it could mean that it just bounces along. Just to explain why I'm looking at this, where we get the RSI running and it's finding it difficult to get beyond the 60 level. It often stays oversold towards the oversold period, and it's a sort of a bearish signal continuously. So until it actually breaks and starts running up and gets a bit more overbought, to me the markets remain weak. It's a real signal. I mean, it's a strength signal. It's suggesting there's little in the way of strength there. Okay, moving on then to the dollar yen. Dollar yen, it's there was a dissenter talking overnight, not liking the fact that the cost of all the easing has seen little in the way of results. It's done little to move the yen through the Asian session yesterday. Quite a small movement. It's a currency I've been constantly saying I'm not interested really in trading. I find it difficult for most of the time to find some sort of trend during the mornings. It does tend to liven up towards the afternoons much more, and it gives some decent moves in the afternoon. But in the mornings it remains relatively choppy. We're seeing this sort of bit of a continuation to the upside. It's in a range which the Japanese government like, and the Japanese Bank of Japan likes. So there's little reason for it to be really being manipulated or eased from that point of view. So what we're seeing here is just chop for me. So a break of this trend line here, could see it coming back down again towards it's already hit daily pivot. We may even get down to that weekly pivot at some point if we saw any strengthening. But if we see strengthening here, I would expect to see strengthening back with the euro and the pound as well. Otherwise, we could run back towards those the highs from the early part of this month. Okay, looking at the Aussie dollar finally. Let's look out at the higher time frames first, and it's choppy. It's very choppy. I mean, we did get a long off yesterday. I was hoping for it to break up much higher than it did. Never really got very far. It just hasn't got the strength really to push up much. Again, you look at where the RSI is sitting. It's sitting around about the 60s, mid 60s here. Not really managing to push up with the highs like it did in February. Late February there, where it's pushing up. We had some strength of the movements. We're pushing up here, and it doesn't seem to have the legs to go with it. So relatively chop sideways action is what I'm expecting here, really. If we can break out of either of the lows, I mean, there's all these lows here. The support area has been sitting here for a couple of days now, and if we can break that level, well, maybe we'll see further downside on the Aussie. The exports, etc., were pretty poor. Yet imports were pretty good, and so it really threw things there for the Australians. But the market seems to have not been too fussed by it all. And there was even talk about further possible interest rate cuts, further easing. So again, I would have expected to have woken up and seen more of a push down, but we haven't seen it. So there must be some sort of confidence there at the moment with the Aussie dollar. But if we, as I say, we've seen a daily pivot hit. If we break these lows here, I'll probably be a seller pretty easily. Okay, that's it for me today. Where are we today? We've got some news coming out. We've got the UK at 12 o'clock UK official bank rate interest rate decision, which most are expecting to be left untouched. We don't see the voting from that until next week or the week after, so there's little bit to be had in terms of movement generally around that result. We've got the minimum bid rate at 12.45 from Europe, so again interest rate decision. We may see a statement of more details of their easing, but more likely that's to be spoken at 1:30 when Draghi speaks at 1:30. So we're expecting quite a bit of volatility on the euro at 1:30. That side, there's little else there in terms of news. So markets could be a little bit moving a little bit this morning, but I wouldn't be too surprised, particularly with the euro, if it just chops a bit sideways, waiting for the ECB press conference. There we go. Have a great day. Bye for now.